for them. I think, Alarim coming in has been performing better than Dokla and Zig really in the past. And, Big has been showing up pretty well for the team, and now even swapping in Gate. So they are trying different things. They are trying to, find what works best for them, but, already out to a pretty good start.
And so we'll see what comes through to this one. Which team will get up to 3-2 and be in the top half of the standings, as Kale is the first ban out of CLG, already getting rid of that champion, and a more standard sort of array of bans from OpTic. You're seeing that Kai'Sa ban as well. CLG getting rid of champions that are probably going to be funnel champs. You can see that that's what they consider to be the top 3 right here. Gate, traditionally a support player, stepping in for Acadian, means OpTic are pretty obviously looking towards playing funnel here.
Yeah, very, very likely. Gate has played, a number of different roles.
This is fourth.
So it is possible that, he is just going to play a standard jungler, but definitely expecting, as you are and as CLG is, that it could be funnel. So they are going to be throwing their bans in that direction. Kale's not one we have seen in the LCS, but it is one I think that makes a lot of sense. It is a hyper-scaling champion that wants levels, that wants these items, and often the only thing really keeping it out of competitive play when I've talked to pros is they say, well, you suck before you get to 2 items. It takes too long to get there. Funneling kind of fixes a lot of that. I mean, you can get to 2 items pretty darn fast.
I've got a scrap for you.
Yeah, it's like, well, if you have 15 minutes, you can get there.
Typically you do right there. Well, Olaf, a great early game champion. Lucian the same, actually, so CLG looking like to come out pretty fast out of the gate here, and this one going to be something that could be fun to watch for there, as OpTic takes some time to figure out what they want to pick. Of course, we know that Ornn is 99% of the time going to be played in the top lane. That Ezreal and Arrow special, although PoE has played plenty of Ezreal in his own day, so can't guarantee it's not going to him.
Yeah, definitely expecting it to be over to Arrow, though, and as you said, a lot of early game here on CLG. That has been their strength. I mean, they're averaging up over 1,500 gold at 15 minutes, right? Getting all the first turrets. They're doing good things in the early game, but they have to be able to convert on that. And Braum coming in for OpTic could be the mid lane support that is going to be enabling that funnel, could potentially be going down to Big as well. But I mean, you can see Power of Evil sitting on Smite. It's very likely that it will be the strategy. And Mundo here for Darshan, so.
Yeah, Dr. Mundo, of course, a great champion as well, and that's going to be, I think, a pretty decent matchup into Ornn. You get to scale, you get your items really easily. There's no great healing reduction items that Ornn wants to buy. I guess you can hit him. If you don't want to auto him, though, Thermal's not going to matter, so you get to heal forever. And yeah, it's going to be Darshan maybe in a position to take over the game. I know CLG have kind of gone back and forth and letting Darshan play fighters, and I feel like they've sometimes done a pretty bad job of figuring out when to split push with him and when to team fight with him, but on Mundo, you kind of want to team fight with him anyway.
Yeah, and I would say that Darshan, while Mundo is not like a a traditional split pusher, you can split push, obviously.
Sure. He's
but
not
it can be a lane dominant champion against other tanks in particular. Mundo matches up very, very well, and into someone like an Ornn, you really can start to dominate that guy if you get ahead. And as you said, it's giving you a very nice lane to really kind of scale up in. With the potential of an Olaf joining there, if it is going to be a funnel strategy for OpTic, Alarim won't have the help of his team. But why you bring an Ornn with a funnel strategy is A, you know that the person could get picked on and put behind, and B, it gives you very reliable engage. It's kind of the same idea as bringing in the Malphite. If he gets put behind, he's still going to have his ultimate. He's still going to have some value in those team fights.
Definitely the case here. Now we're going to wait to see what CLG wants to play for themselves, as 15 seconds are left until they have to lock in one of these champions. They've got their top and jungle most likely. They need a mid laner, they need a support, and Alice is going to fill in the role for one of those. And it's still probably impossible to play a funnel with these kind of champions unless you're funneling into like an Olaf mid, which I heavily doubt. So pretty standard comp for them so far. And OpTic, this is where they get to pivot. This can be Braum, Ezreal bot lane with very standard champions in jungle and mid, or they show right here what they're all about. As we saw the Tom Kench banned away, of course, CLG expecting a second support in the lineup. And they got to choose now. 3 seconds to go. Tristana picked up as a second marksman. And Tristana, one of the lowest win rate marksmen in the game. The scaling is so much slower on this champion now. As you're talking about Kale, can you get to 2 items? Tristana needs to get to 3. And if you're going to funnel out Tristana, she'll get to 3 and she'll get to take over the game.
Yeah, well, that's certainly the hope, right? And we're going to have to find out, will she actually be able to get there? I'm expecting it to be a Morgana Ezreal in the bottom lane, the Braum plus Tristana clearing the jungle, farming the mid lane, really trying to boost up this Tristana to a super powerful state. And when you look at this team as a 5v5 comp, if Arrow gets those 2-3 items, if we have Power of Evil on 3 items, and they 5v5, that is such a hard comp to actually beat. And this is something that looks very, very strong. Huhi bringing out Lissandra as an answer. Aurelion Sol was actually on the table, but not going for that. Lysandra is something that has been traditionally used again as an answer into funnel. The push is very strong. And secondarily, you know, I talked a little bit about Lulu locking down a funnel strategy. Well, Lysandra can do that incredibly well too. You know, if all the gold is put on one person and killing Power of Evil essentially knocks two people out of the fight, well, Lysandra Ultimate is fantastic for doing that. But they do have to worry about Black Shield. They do have to worry about the inevitable QSS that comes out. Lysandra, though, can also really help to focus on the side lane, something CLG really likes to do. You have, you know, the potential of Olaf, Lysandra, Mundo diving Alarim and putting him really far behind, and we saw that was the key to the last game, really getting cracked open for FlyQuest. We'll see if CLG can do that here.
We'll see what comes through. Quick shake of hands for the coaches, and off they go on the stage. This is going to be a fun one to watch for. Once again, we've got another game of differing styles here. Darshan on Dr. Mundo, the reign over Olaf. I am curious if these players can actually dive at Tristana. Like, if your goal is to assassinate backline, I don't think Lysandra can one-shot, and the rest of these champions don't really reach backline all that well. Olaf can certainly try. You can stick, of course. The ultimate can make him not be peelable, but I just don't know quite if the damage is there through a Black Shield. So maybe assassination won't be the play style, but if the rest of the team can do well, then I guess it can be fine if they can wait out the Tristana rapid fire.
And that's definitely the question, right? You know, again, CLG has had fantastic early games. Did they index too heavily on that, right? You know, and likewise, yes, if you get to an even gold state and you're 5v5ing later in the game, OpTic should have a more powerful strategy, should have a more powerful composition.
Yeah.
But it's not a straight up even game, right? Because there's going to be jungle pressure, because we can see Hui getting out to the side lanes, and if you have Darshan a couple thousand gold ahead, if you have Stixay a couple thousand gold ahead, and turrets are getting knocked down, well, your super powerful Tristana cannot be everywhere and can't plug all the holes that are kind of starting to pop up in your ship.
Yeah, getting to 3 items is the win condition sort of here. Getting to 3 items without your Nexus almost blowing up in the first place, so CLG maybe even doubling down on early and mid-game pressure that Lysandra, as you're talking about, certainly good at getting to the side lanes. The wave clear pretty good in this champion. And the ability to focus down on the Ornn or maybe the Ezreal bot lane going to be a look here, as everyone is playing in their assigned sort of locations. As Gate is playing quote-unquote jungle, of course without Smite. He's playing a support mid, essentially, and based on how you feel about that, that's kind of the role he's playing. And oof! Ornn just taking a briefcase to the back of the head, and another.
Yeah, and as much as he's kind of just taunting around and whatnot, like, he actually took 3 cleavers there, right?
Yeah.
So he's kind of sitting there spamming taunt, joking around, and that is fun, but like, you actually took a non-trivial amount of damage, right? That is essentially more than one of his potion charges already at level 1, and it's something that you do have to, you know, kind of worry about a little bit. It might not actually make any difference this game, but it certainly has the potential to.
And New Power go rocket jumping over to help with the last hitting, as they're going to grab as many of these minis as they can, and a couple hits, and these will be easy to set up. Of course, Gate knows all about setting up CS in a turret, but sadly, with explosive charge learned, that's actually a mistake from PoE. He should not have ranked up E in the middle of that wave. Actually screwed up his own last hitting there, but not the end of the world, end of the day. Just missing a CS or 2.
Yeah, not too big of a deal. We will see how this is all going to work out for them, but you know, one of the things the guys on the desk were actually talking about after the last game was, hey, that kind of mistake from Contracts, going for this Q flash on Braum, trying to take down a Flame on the Aatrox, really misjudging his damage, and this should be an advantage that someone like Gate has, where he has played so much support, he has played so much Braum that you know the damage threshold's better, you understand really kind of how much you can do and when you can engage in these sorts of things better than a jungler would. And you know, seeing Reignover even in these early stages, taking away some of the Raptors, that's something that I really like to see and was missing earlier again in the kind of anti-funnel game that we saw Lyra play.
Yeah.
In the same position, he was essentially just camping in the side brush, waiting to try to do something. Reignover is being more proactive, taking funnel away from that Tristana, and we'll see if he can actually get involved in some of those lanes.
So Raptors off the map, and 2 melee minions lost to PoE right here as well. So CLG doing a pretty good job of making these pushes happen, of kind of depriving some of this farm, and maybe they can keep that funnel a little bit looser for a little bit longer here. Another CS dropped as the wave is shoved in. He feels pretty safe. He's just casting his skill shots at range, making sure he can get the last hits up. Of course, yes, still it is a 32 CS Tristana. The gold is there.
Yeah, definitely going to be getting a lot of farm. Tristana really can farm quite quickly, even in that jungle. You know, once you get going, I'm going to be excited to see what kind of a build PoE is actually going for. If he decides to to make that pit stop for a jungle item or go something straight like a rapid fire or a shiv to kind of boost up your farming or even a hurricane and then go straight into the IE.
Yeah, I really want to see personally BF Sword into Zeal upgrades. I think you actually should not pit stop on a champion like this. I think you actually need to get there to 3 items quickly, and I think you'll have the time to get close, but we'll see what he wants to go for in this game.
And I think that even skipping BF and going straight for a hurricane can be pretty viable, right? It's kind of like an increased farming speed on a lot of these AoE camps in the jungle, and could be something that he wants to look for, but sure. We will find out how much he's practiced this, how much he really has this build path mapped out.
Yeah, we'll see. And of course, players will adapt over time as well. There's going to be what's considered optimal at one day, and then either the metagame changes or people just discover more things about the game, and it can change over time. Either way, right now, looks like first recall for Power of Evil sitting on about 1,300 gold. And, well, spoiler alert, it's going to be Berserker's Greaves. I looked ahead. And now Rain wants to make this top lane happen. So, this could be a nice flash to follow the slows of Rain. There is no way out. Orin is certainly going to drop. He's got no way out. First blood through for Olaf. Rain over 400 gold richer.
Well, the pause coming in. We'll find out. It's looking like that is a gate issue, I believe, as he is talking to the ref. Oh, maybe he spilled something on his... That's kind of what it looked like there. But anyway, we'll figure out what is going on there. But it is first blood going to CLG. That's what you want to see. Rainover getting up to the top side. It's 2 flashes down for CLG, but they do get Alarim's flash and do kill off him as well.
And that's what you wanted to see. That is, sort of point by point, exactly what you wanted. Of course, you saw him picking up his mouse. It says some kind of a mouse issue for him. You saw him kind of take one of the pieces off as well. I'm actually curious if he's running a hard mat, like a hard plastic mat. I know, like, for me, when I play like high pressure games, my hands get sweaty, and then I start tracking on sweat, and like I actually like lose mouse tracking. I can't tell if that's a cloth pad or not.
He's also playing wireless.
Yeah, which actually apparently wireless tech's gotten a lot better, and you don't actually have that much latency on the mouse anymore. And you never get the chance where you might actually like catch your cord on something. Like I've noticed, anytime I go play somewhere that's not my home setup, like, ooh, this mouse is this cord got caught on something. So, yeah.
The mouse bungee gets a little...
Well, yeah, but that's... Or you can just get a wireless mouse and just, like, charge the batteries once in a while. I don't know. It's up to everyone's taste. Yeah, all right. Well, we're going to get a replay of that top lane. Dive, gank, whatever you want to call it, again, real quick.
Call it a kerfuffle.
That top lane kerfuffle is Alarim hits level 5, but there's an Olaf for permanent slows.
He's out of batteries on the wireless mouse, by the way. So
that
there
was
you
the
go.
thing? That is the downside.
Either way, here it is one more time. Pretty easy kill there. Predator is popped, double flash committed. They're able to run him down and take him out. And, it becomes now, can you continue to snowball that, right? Because one kill, especially since it went on the Olaf, not actually onto Darshan, doesn't really matter that much. Darshan is not going to get massively ahead from this. It's about the subsequent ganks. It's about the follow-up ones, especially killing off a top laner when he has TP versus when he does not is actually such a tremendous difference in kind of how effective that gank really is, because for now he's not going to lose too much unless Darshan tries to freeze over by his turret with the minion wave stacking there and tries to force Alarim to kind of TP back into a difficult situation or something like that.
Yeah, he's not going to get into lane for another 22 seconds, 18 on the recall plus 4.5 for the teleport, but yeah, just how fast you can even shove the wave. Like maybe you deny one melee and the cannon gets low or something. This is kind of stuff that you might need to watch out for. Either way, headset off. He's still talking with the refs, making sure everything is going to be okay for him. And yeah, otherwise we kind of take stock of the game and how these comps going to work overall. Of course, we've already seen Arrow TP back to his lane. He's got tier for himself, so that's kind of moving on. Stixxay saved his TP so far. They've actually just stayed in lane on the bottom side. And yeah, I mean, it's just so early into the game, right? And because we've had 3 games in a row, funnel versus non-funnel, we've spent a lot of time talking about the win conditions of both. Like, the Tristana will scale up, and I feel like endgame team fights, it's like 90-10. If you're reasonably close in gold at 3-4 items, it's like super OpTic favorite, but what we're seeing right now is what we expect and hope to see out of CLG. You should have early pressure, you should have early jungle pressure, you should have early jungle side lane pressure, go gank those lanes. So far, a 0-0-1 Mundo.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really not that much different than if a team had, protect the Jinx or protect the Kog'Maw style of composition, where it's you have this hyper-scaling champion, it's just getting there faster, so you have less time to really kind of, get your advantage and get your lead before they really do turn on. And it's been interesting because, this weekend we have seen a lot of the funnel strategies. It has really been the first time it has kind of shown its head in North America, whereas, you see some teams that are almost exclusively doing it. When you look at a team like G2, they have been running it, pretty much nonstop in Europe and really having a ton of success there. And around the world, we have been seeing more and more of it. So this is kind of its introduction to North America. And it's been interesting to talk to some of the different coaches and players and hear their thoughts on it. And it's obviously very much influenced by A, do you have the players that kind of really fit these strategies and are very good at piloting the hyper carries? And B, do you have the flexibility as the opponent to really shut it down? Because we talk about Aurelion Sol, we talk about things like Rumble we saw come out in the academy as a mid laner to really be able to push it out, and having the flexibility on your players to really run what is best to like early game focus and shut the team down is important.
I agree, and it is really cool that people, as you're mentioning, sort of getting better at the counter strategies. Aurelion Sol being a prime example of this one. Lissandra seemingly for the same sort of idea for CLG. One thing I'm also very interested about is how many players and how many teams actually role swap their players, because you're just talking about how G2 plays funnel almost exclusively, and they're funneling 2 perks even when he's still playing marksman, right? He's still the one getting all the gold, playing sort of mid lane, playing in that sort of part of the map, and they let their standard 2-on-2 play 2-on-2 down there, whereas we look at other teams, like we just saw in the previous game, or a couple of games ago, where you actually had Ryu playing in the bottom lane, and they role swapped their traditional marksman player, their AD carry, quote-unquote player. He's like, well, you're still going to play an AD carry, just play mid lane, and we'll funnel into Cody-san, and we're going to play it that way. And that's interesting to me, where just even if you're playing the same strategy, you have different ways of playing that strategy. We're going to play for lane familiarity, or we're going to play for champion familiarity, and that's to strengths and weaknesses of the players.
And we've seen the evolution of it. I mean, when you look at a team like Fnatic, their early versions of Funnel, where they have Reckless playing Janna and stuff, was just a disaster. And they have kind of evolved from that. And teams are realizing that you don't have to have 4 supports and your hyper carry. You can just have winning lanes across the map, and then also have this guy who's going to be super strong, and that works too. To give you a little bit of an update on the issue, we did look to get him a replacement mouse. He has instead elected to keep his same mouse. It's a new mouse pad that is going to be brought in now. So just changing up those peripherals there for Gate, making sure everything's working okay, and we will be getting going as soon as he gives us the go-ahead and is comfortable with his setup.
Yeah, we've seen Gate on screen, especially Gate's right hand on screen a whole lot right there. That is, I think, we've seen that more than Summoner's Rift now so far in OpTic versus CLG. I'm actually pretty confident that is true.
I love how all the old gaming highlight videos, people didn't really know what the action shots were supposed to be. So it was always just like a zoom in on like a mouse like moving slowly back and forth.
Yeah, and unless you're a StarCraft player, the keyboard's not interesting either, right? Oh, I'm playing Counter-Strike. Cool, you held W a couple of times. Like, grats. And, like, if you had good hotkeys in Warcraft 3, it's all QWER anyway, so it's, like, not like it would have mattered a bunch of, more developed RTSs. But, yeah, if you're, like, hitting P for probe and stuff, then it's actually a bit more exciting.
It's still not that exciting.
No. I guess, actually, to be fair, Counter-Strike mouses are pretty good, because your sense is so low, you're using, like, 700 feet to turn 90 degrees. You're like, hold on, I need your mouse pad as well. Either way, we're back into the game, so I'll stop getting off topic. CLG 1-0 in this game. They continue their 5-0 streak of First Bloods in the NALCS in the summer split. We'll see if they can convert this into their 3rd win of the split, though, themselves, as Power of Evil is under his turret right now.
He is, but he is farming up. Started with Zerker Greaves. Similar to what we had seen earlier. Again, the move speed there on the early tier 2 boots is going to be nice when you're moving around the map and really trying to optimize that farm, but it will be up to Reignover to be proactive, to continue to extend these advantages. Throughout Spring Split as well as in Summer, he really has been good at getting early leads, but not always good at really kind of extending it from there and continuing to build that gold advantage for himself. So have to see where he's going to go. And with Alorum having his flash down, I really do, and especially since DP is down now as well, I just want to see Reignover go straight back up top, use your level 6 Mundo, pop Predator again, dive this guy once more, and then he's going to have to lose the experience, lose the gold, and potentially start taking a lot of turret damage, and that's how you can kind of crack the map open, because getting a flash from Alorum and trading a flash from Darshan and getting 1 assist on Darshan is not enough of an advantage to really kind of crack that side of the map open.
Well, right now it could be difficult. Reignover, not only on the wrong side of the map, but not yet level 6 against an Ornn with an ultimate available. Olaf kind of needs that CC immunity to keep walking at the champion. So maybe going to be a bit of a test for him as Biofrost tries to maybe roam up, but not quite anything to do as we take quick stock of how Arrow and Big are doing up against their opponents, and it's pretty much equal farm. Stixxay has yet to teleport back, so he's just sitting there waiting maybe for BF Sword Gold or more, and actually just now making his way back, picks up his first little item with the Bilgewater Cutlass, and will TP now into that lane.
It is very interesting, though, watching these styles of games, and I do feel like a lot of the pro junglers have trouble getting out of the mindset of how to play an LCS game. Because I honestly feel that a lot of the times when you're playing against a funnel strategy, it's better to go like full solo queue treatment where, you know, you see these games where someone ganks top and then just sits in the bush and waits for the TV back and then ganks them again, and then they flash away and then you dive them and you literally don't have to do all these other things. You don't have to be covering your lanes and anticipating where the jungler is and doing all these other things. Your only goal is to hard blast a side lane while keeping your farm reasonable. Like that's it. And I think that sometimes a lot of the pro junglers have trouble really kind of moving into that mentality because it's been something different from what they have had to do and been tasked with for so long in the LCS. And yes, that is a simplification of it.
Yeah, sure.
Still, I do believe that that is kind of some of the crux of the problem.
Well, quick bit of trade right there as Alarin fights up against Darshan. Pretty good damage coming back and forth. The farm difference not very big as the wave is waiting for him. And okay, Darshan will shove one more, maybe go for a recall off this. Gets rid of the minions. Lissandra and Olaf make their way over the wall, and look at how far back now Alarin has to be. A nice bit of damage here from the culling. Sixta getting good damage on a big 300 health on one, 400 on the other. The wave is cleared. TP, though, not up for the Ezreal, and there is not one for Big either.
Yeah, now with Tristana and Braum missing from mid lane, you can't actually go for this dive completely, but Reignover will spot them out, could potentially look for a steal here, and Huhi's coming in. Because Braum went back to mid lane to actually hold that, they are going to be able to take away the blue. He's going to be able to give that to Huhi. And now, this is essentially an almost guaranteed dive.
Predator is on. Muno shoved the wave. Here comes the dive. Where can Alarin go? No flash, no TP. Has an ult. Can he cast in time? Pop stopwatch to buy a few seconds. Gets a bit of a slow. And looking for the trade, but it's not going to be nearly enough. A nice stopwatch. Who stays alive. Who can tank? Darshan grabs one turret shot, and it's enough to keep them alive. Nicely played there, CLG. Execute the dive. Gate shows up. We've seen it before. Is that Contracts? Oh, no, it's not. He didn't die. It's just fine. Now he's walking up, takes an axe, runs away. Here comes PoE, and Buster Shot takes him down. Well played, getting a kill back.
Yeah, pretty greedy for Darshan to stay around, actually try to push out a little bit more of those minions. The wave is already pushing towards them. You know these guys could be roaming up. They do execute the dive, though, but it is a bit dicey here. They take away the blue, and they go straight in. Let's see how they actually handle this. Darshan tanking a lot of turret shots before he really had to, and kind of nice stopwatch there from Alorum is able to buy quite a bit of time. Huhi has to stopwatch. Reignover probably should have moved back in to help tank, but then this is kind of one of the mistakes here from Darshan. I mean, he turns around, he really wants to get the cannon. Yeah, he wants to clear out that wave, but you know that people are probably roaming up. Otherwise, their funnel should be mid lane, right? So PoE able to flash in, pick up a kill, and kind of make it much more of that even trade.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake there from Darshan, staying so long, getting himself so low on pushing the wave, but that's the state we're in right now. Still CLG up 1,400 gold. They also didn't manage to deny much from Alarin, who did actually clear the wave right as the dive was happening, so maybe penalized one wave, but that would be kind of it. And even then, I think PoE might have grabbed it regardless, so now we again take stock of the map. This bot lane very close to equal. Small lead to Stixay, so good job of the 2-on-2 there, and that's been without mostly any jungle pressure, as far as I could have told, from Reignover's side. More wave for coming down to the mid lane, and Huhi just kind of collects the farm that has given him the PoE.
Yeah, very quickly clearing that out. You can see that he has Dematerializer as well, but this is nice to see from OpTic's side, all the vision now kind of in the CLG topside jungle to protect Alorum here from that coming over. You can see a ward there, another ward over by the red buff. They have a scuttle, they have a defensive pink. Like, this is quite nice from them, knowing that that's where that focus could be and giving them a better chance to back off and at least lose the minimum.
Attempted Predator gank from Reignover there, walked into the mid lane, but not going to get much done there as Gate backs up his teammate and steps right out. But the attempts, I think, are good. Right? CLG making their presence known, showing up a little bit, saying if you do misstep, maybe we're there for it. 60 knocks down a few minions, and we'll see what's next for them.
Also worth pointing out, it was Warrior first here from Power of Evil, so he did decide to go for kind of earlier power immediately. This is going to slow down his scaling. But it is still an efficient item. It is still to make him very strong. Like, it's the strongest you can be with that amount of gold spent, basically.
By far.
But, you know, on 2 items, you're obviously going to be weaker and so on and so forth. So it's going to take him a bit more time. You know, you talked about that 3 items. Now maybe it's looking more for, like, the 2.5, like, additional. So it's like 3.5 or 4 or whatever kind of thing you need to get to.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. He'll be decent on, like, you know, IE Shiv or whatever, but yeah, I think it'll be just not quite the same power spike, but that's okay if they're willing to play it out that way. I think it's just fine here. Reignover, again, with the lane pressure you expect. This is, I think, something you're supposed to probably get every funnel game, is take the Rift clear out, and pretty early you can see it's only been alive for 1 minute 40, but it's his to take as the only true jungler on the map.
And I can also really kind of respect the thought process that if you're saying, we will win for sure if the game goes super late, instead of just trying to rush as fast as you can to get there, you're trying to make sure you're strong enough to kind of bridge the gap to buy that time, right? And this is kind of a less greedy version of that, itemizing a bit more for the kind of early stages and really trying to take over there.
Yeah, giving it more thought, I agree with you, especially with how seemingly early game focused the CLG composition is, right? He's always going to outscale Lucian. Lissandra seems to be an early pressure champion as well. I mean, Olaf just, in every game, gets outscaled by their junglers too.
Yep.
So yeah, I think just making sure you're not dropping the game by 20 minutes makes a lot of sense here, and we'll see him continue to scale up as LRM does his very best to farm under his turret, and not even too many issues with that, only down about 12 CS. So here's the Rift Herald. Someone looking for mid lane outer turret, and that should be almost a guaranteed first turret off this. The charge itself nearly is going to kill it. Even roam the dual lane up as well. That is certainly going to be the gold going into their pockets. And CLG doing a pretty solid job with the early game, and they threaten the dive there on PoE, but not going to go for it. Charge will just barely land in time, and an injured turret in the mid lane.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, that little charge going off ever since the buff. That would have been such a small amount of damage in the past, but because it has that
12 or something.
Yeah, because it has that minimum amount, it actually is a pretty big deal, whether it gets that second charge or not, to be able to kind of help you to pick up that additional turret if you then win a fight in mid lane or something along those lines.
So down goes the waves. This gold difference now 2,500. CLG have probably about what you'd expect on an average game with this kind of situation. Again, I feel like first turret should be almost a formality. He's going to go for the play in on towards gate. A lot of damage there available. Waiting for the ult. Got to pop the stopwatch, but he's still got that glacial prison. And finally puts that one down there. Almost got the kill on a who. He actually PoE puts in the autos and picks one up, and they still cannot kill off gate. Reignover is not long for the world. Oh, he turns it back around the queue. Managed to make a trade of it. Gate overstepping slightly here, but now a bit more of a fight. There is nowhere for Balfrost to go. He is certainly quite durable. Flashes the wall. And if they've got rocket jump, they can make it happen. But no, he's going to build enough space. The flashbind lands. They will get the kill. A nice pickup there. OpTic now winning in kills.
Yeah, nicely done there from PoE. And committing so much to a stopwatch from. Watch CLG here. This is. It always feels like there's that one moment you can pinpoint where the wheels fall off for CLG, and this feels like it. Why are they not looking at Power of Evil? He has no rocket jump there. He backed away. You're sitting and waiting while the Braum, who is in stopwatch, is in complete stasis, is immune to damage, and their funneled hyper carry
is just free hitting.
Is just free hitting the whole time. I mean, that is just really not thinking it through from CLG. It's so over-forcing on a play onto a member who is extremely tanky, has a stopwatch, doesn't even really matter if he dies. And that may be really what the game is around now. I mean, you just gave 3 kills essentially over. Power of Evil is going to get so much off that, and they itemize so much for the early game. You can look at who Lucidity Boots, Proto Belt, he's going towards the zone. It's all about early playmaking. It's all about now, and they've kind of thrown away a lot of their advantage.
Yeah, rough stuff right there, but at least CLG have some pressure elsewhere on the map. That bot lane still pushing. The gold itself still up 1,500, but it is dwindling absolutely as they scale up back and forth. Rapid fire cannon done in one shot from Power of Evil right here. He's in a pretty good spot. Darshan still trying to pressure, actually going for the hard tower dive with the ultimate on. There's a lot of damage available too. He's coming across. There is not an easy way out now for this poor Orin. Can't get the ult off either. Here comes the ulti, the flash to follow, an easy kill picked up there. Who he grabs some gold. At the same time, actually, Reignover managed to get something on the bottom side of the map, picking up things everywhere. So CLG at least not perturbed, getting objectives on other sides.
Yeah, Darshan definitely starting to really take advantage in that 1v1. You can see how that can start to look pretty bad for the Orin, and who he roaming up top. They do get a kill, putting on more pressure again. But Power of Evil in position to actually pick this up and can head back down over to mid lane after farming the drop. He's getting so much farm. We're 15 minutes in. He's closing in on 220 CS, and that is a really, really fast clip of farming, even for a funnel game. I mean, closing on 8,000 gold at this point. He is massively ahead because he has gotten all those kills too, and it's going to be really, really tough to deal with this guy. I wonder if the longsword is saying that he's actually not going to get an IE next, and he's going to go for something else as well.
I gave that thought. I think it's Executioners, and then he'll go towards IE. That's what I'm going to guess in this one, but it could just be Ruin King, and he's going to go for a very different build here. But I expect Executioners and IE. Looking now at mid lane pressures, Reignover kind of pushed off. The wards are going over to OpTic's side. Looking to get some damage on that one. As the bot lane turret, though, does fall. CLG in the heads-up 2-on-2 bot lane have done very well for themselves. I think it's a mostly untouched lane down there.
Yep.
And 6A and Biofrost managed to find themselves that turret, so CLG 2-0 by that clip.
Yeah, and you could see this again. I mean, Darshan's just going to run him down. There's no flash available.
Cooldown, a 2-level lead. Who he's coming by as well. You do not have an escape. The Proto Belt, he's in range for the ult, and what do you even do about this? They just show up in your lane and you die. 0-4 and 0. Poor Alarim. Turret going to take some more damage. The minions still stand.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, even in an isolated 1v1, it's a tough matchup, and Mundo can get to the point where it looks like this. But it has not been an isolated 1v1. Reignover, getting the kill on him right off the bat. Huhi making multiple trips up to the top side, continuing to be proactive. CLG knows they have to do this. Like, this is how you are staying, essentially even though they are up in gold.
Yeah.
The other team has such a team fight advantage if it gets to those later stages. So they need to be proactive. They need to continuously expand that lead, and Huhi certainly doing his part.
Yes, I don't know if I love Frozen Heart, though, against Mundo as far as the 1v1's concerned. I think it's a pretty magic damage heavy champion in his own right, but...
Especially when it's Lissandra roaming up to you nonstop.
Yeah.
It's like almost all magic damage, you've built no health and you've built pure armor.
Yeah.
Great, I mean, that's going to be helpful against 6A, but, by the time you interact with 6A, if you're massively
0-4 without a turret.
And yeah, I tend to agree. I really don't like the itemization. I'm much more of a fan, I think, in these situations of just building health and mana on an Ornn, and that's why I think something like an Abyssal can be very, very effective into this sort of a team comp. And I understand Frozen Heart. A lot of people make the argument that, okay, well, I'm going to be weak anyway. I want CDR for the ult, but this makes you so easy to kill.
He's rooted up in place. There's the ult on top of this one. He does not have flash. He has an ultimate, but it's going to be a black shield to keep him alive, and actually able to walk away with it. A big save out of the Morgana, and out they go. Nice try by CLG, but just stays alive.
Nice roam from Big. Gets over there, saves him with the black shield, is able to keep him alive, and eventually he will start picking up some of that HP and becoming more and more durable. It will be tougher to kind of crack that nut, but Darshan certainly getting some advantages. He's not massively ahead, though, with all the pressure that has been put on, because he hasn't picked up actually any of those kills. And yes, he is up in farm, but it's not an insane amount.
Yeah.
Certainly PoE is looking very, very strong, has a couple thousand gold in the bank, so when he gets back and gets his next item, we may see OpTic trying to force more round objectives and really starting to look for those team fights. Yeah,
so far that sort of top difference has been keeping Alarim down more so than Darshan being ahead, who he, for example, has more gold than him via picking up all those kills and everything else. And of course, that's probably fine. I think Lissandra getting the gold, being more bursty, probably makes sense right here.
Yeah.
Yet to see PoE go back for any items just yet. Sitting on 2,300 gold, has a lot to buy when he does make his way back to the base. As the waves have cleared back and forth, and CLG still hold on to this 4,000 gold lead.
And this build now, really kind of coming online for Huhi. You have Protobelt plus Zonias. That is really, that with Lucidity is about as good as you can get for playmaking. If you're trying to be super proactive, you can get out on the map. You have more summoner spells to use. You have the gap closing ability as well as the wave clear from your Protobelt. And obviously, Zonias gives you a ton of playmaking, not only offensively, but defensively as far as creating space. If the team fight gets to that stage, you could dive in the back line, use your spells, self-ult into Zonias, and really that buys a tremendous amount of time and has a lot of zoning pressure, even against a strong carry like Paladin.
Be able to still give in gold back and forth. A blue buff now on him as well. Tristana, actually one of the best CDR users of Marksman, because Rapid Fire is such an important part of the kit. Getting that up a couple seconds faster is actually a pretty big deal. The mana, not an issue, but 1.7 seconds or so off the queue actually means quite a little bit. So 20 CDR right now in the build, thanks to Warrior plus this, and actually does mean a little bit for team fighting. Still waiting for the buy for some more items, as 2,500 gold or so is in the inventory. Darshan just with W on, clears some minions, and they're waiting for the next dive against Alarim.
Since PoE, grab a Nashor's next, hit 40% CDR.
There you go, that's the build. That's the build. I doubt that highly. You know what? You do you. PoE is he is a Nashor's Tooth aficionado, though.
Exactly.
Done it on Orianna. Maybe it's actually AP Trist, and we didn't even know about it.
The return.
The return. The wave pushed in, but PoE's got to grab the farm. They just pushed him onto the side lane, as OpTic still searching for that first turret kill. Yet to get it just yet, but with this just on the top lane, maybe they can get it before too terribly long. 60 did just recall out of the lane, but he's TPing back in. Now a Black Cleaver Richer, a full 2-item spike on that champion. Void Staff not far away for Huhi.
And they obviously do have a pretty nice gold lead here. CLG still up to over 4,000 gold, but it is not really in the panic stage yet for OpTic. I think being around this kind of gold mark is totally fine with this sort of composition, because you're more about minimizing loss, about scaling, about getting to the super strong point. And PoE just sold the longsword and bought a straight up IE. So
yeah.
He is now a big boy They can look for those team fights, but they are missing healing debuff. They have no real form of healing debuff at all, except for the Ignite from Big. And you can use that once, but someone is going to have to pick it up eventually. We may see them try to force a fight now, right on this buy, though, because he is so much stronger than anyone else on the map.
That's the power spike. I'm sure that was practiced back at home in their scrims. Okay, when PoE gets to Infinity Edge, that's when you start to force. It's going to be right around the time Baron comes up. Let's see if they can make that play. CLG, meanwhile,
Seen this one before.
targeting the bottom lane, but Pillar puts him out of the way, and who he's going to walk back up is, I think CLG might have called that, you know, guys, OpTic can start playing for Baron pretty soon. There's going to be top lane hour taken out, though. CLG 3-0 on turrets. A second Ocean ready for the taking when they want it, but not going to be a super high prize, with, again, Baron being a threat.
Extending that lead a little bit more, and we'll see if they can continually do this, because mid lane turret has gotten quite low. We have to remember that earlier Rift Herald did get a chunk on it, and that turret, is within taking distance, getting pretty close to that. They're trying to buy time for Darshan to really shove up in the side lane, and once you have Warmogs, you can really just kind of thoughtlessly trade out your health. You just pop the W, you run at them, you take 5 tower shots, who cares? You back off, you heal up, you repeat. And that's kind of the sort of patterns that you can do, because Ornn can never really threaten to burst you down before the Warmogs can kick in. So that's really kind of what Darshan is looking for. But going to be able to kind of make a pit stop, grab a second Ocean, which will help them in those extended situations, but
yeah,
doesn't feel that good for their comp, really.
Sure, yeah. Staying out of the map, not going to be that big of an issue. I feel like they've got plenty to sustain overall as a squad, but you know, if this is a situation where CLG can sort of just stay ahead on the map and kind of stay ahead on the play a few times, the Drake timing is actually really good for a 35-minute Elder, because the next one's going to respawn at 29, you kill it right away. Elder spawns like 35.5, 36 minutes. It's actually well-timed for CLG to try to go Elder, and somehow just stay enough ahead that ends you the game.
Yeah, and when you have map control, another thing is, even if you're saying, oh, well, the Ocean's not going to be that good for us, you're hoping that the next one will be, right? You're hoping that it rolls an Infernal or whatever that you're really looking for, and that you can then maybe grab that up or and kind of get a bigger advantage there. So trying to kind of maximize their advantage while they have it. Darshan continuing to play in the side lanes, and PoE continuing to scale up. Arrow, moving towards those 3-item power spikes as well. He's not going double tier, at least not yet, so he's looking for kind of more a quicker, faster.
A lot of damage in the mid lane, but PoE's going to be down on his big cooldowns. A nice bit of damage comes through. He self-ults, but they go for the hard dive. Can they kill off Power Beetle? That half HP still chasing him as the Olaf. They jump in, and they got the shutdown sticks. They made it into the fight, and he's going to call off Gate as well. And poor Alarum can only run away. Got one kill, but he will be killed off himself. That is a huge team fight. 4 for 1, and Baron is CLG's.
Yeah, they're going to go straight to the Baron. Arrow can poke away all he wants, but Double Ocean Warmogs Mundo does not care at all. And CLG find their timing window, fully commit to the fight, and they make it count for so much there. This is getting a little bit sloppy, but they're waiting for Huhi perhaps to try to zone him out, and they do need to be a bit careful about this.
It's going to be okay. Nice job by Arrow getting away from the roots. They're going to look for the re-engage. Eventually finds the first slow, and Huhi's going to zone him out at this point. He knows the ulti is down. He's going to be in range for the root. There's the solo kill picked up, and they're going to get this Baron without much of an issue. The team's respawning, and the rest of OpTic can start coming around. But Baron, I believe, does not stop Ocean Drake, so this team is healthy, and they're going to sit there. Stix, they might actually gain health during this fight, and slowly but surely they wear it down. And so many teams like to malign Ocean, but they get to make this play because of that regen, because they're just staying at half health the entire time. They've got Rain over here, they slowly burn it down, and Baron picked up, CLG up 5 kills and 10,000 gold.
And while it was kind of teetering on the precipice of if it was a big enough lead, if it was enough, CLG finds the engage, the flash W onto him. PoE has to expend the flash, the rocket jump immediately, and does a pretty good job of self-healing. Ults away Darshan, not wasting that into the Ornn, but everyone fully commits in CLG fashion, flying on in. They knock down PoE, and with him down, I mean, you can see how ineffective Arrow is at actually dealing with Darshan. He's not going to do anything to this Mundo at this point in the game. It's really all on Power of Evil. Power of Evil goes down, and with that, CLG have opened up a tremendous lead and really do have the tools that they need to close this game out. With Baron buff in multiple lanes, how do you stop the Mundo from just walking up to the turret and killing that in your face if you can't knock down those turrets? So it's going to be up to OpTic to really slow down the pace now. They need to be able to kind of delay, and really wait out this. Try to keep their base alive. If you can do that, you can maybe buy yourself enough time to kind of get the gold you need to be relevant.
And they're going to hope Power of Evil goes for the Hex Drinker here to stay alive against some of this burst. It's no QSS to get rid of a big stun, but I think Black Shield can try to survive against that.
And Mikhail's as well, right?
Sure,
so they're trying to kind of itemize towards that, but it's going to be tough still, and he doesn't have a tremendous amount of crit, as you were kind of pointing out, with this warrior build, doesn't have a second Zeal yet, and that's often when people talk about Tristana really being a monster.
Yep, and he actually goes Last Whisper over Executioners, which I don't like. He's gonna have to auto-attack the Mundo, and it's not being built on the Ezreal either, so that's maybe a misstep on the one side, but he is going towards a big damage multiplier there by going for a Last Whisper upgrade regardless. Bot lane, of course, under fire. Not sure if OpTic can defend this. Again, a 9,000 gold difference plus a Baron buff makes team fights hard, but Lissandra's in the mid lane right now, shoving in that one. They're going for a bit of a 1-4. Maybe, no, not the dive, just getting rid of some of the minions, the wards in the back side. This turret's now down to about 40% health, and they're still getting autos in once in a while.
It's always tough, when you look at a game like this, you think about, okay, all the items that you really need as a marksman when you're playing against heavy team, like a heavy tank team, and you don't get too many luxury items as a marksman, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's only so many. The warrior really took a lot of those slots, because I'm looking at this now, okay, you're going to go Hex Drinker, but you also need the Mortal Reminder. You still want a Zeal. That means you
don't have slots.
You have no slots.
You
You're
can't
not
max
going to
crit.
even have Lifesteal. And then you're shooting a Mundo who is going to be returning damage with the Thornmail. Same thing here from the Olaf. That can be a bit problematic when they get super, super tanky. You don't have Lifesteal to even deal with that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely kind of some issues, and maybe paying the price a little bit for getting that earlier power spike with the Warrior leaves them without enough slots to really kind of get it the most efficient possible build.
Yeah, I don't love this right now, but either way, the story is Counter Logic Gaming and how much better they have played into this one. Standard on a huge timer against this Tristana funnel, and they have found advantage over advantage over advantage. Top lane 2-2 about to fall down as they split push Huhi, and you can see he's playing far back. He's playing to make sure that he's not going to get shot by anything, and now looking for potential play. Does not pull the trigger onto that one. Instead, they drop down a few more wards and look back at this mid lane pressure. It's two people who are defending Huhi on the top side of the map, so not a lot of defenders here. Arrow, the only one with a lot of gold, a lot of damage. Will knock down the minions, but that turret's down a half HP. CLG 6-0 in turrets. The only thing they've given up is 5 kills, and most of that's been in trade for more.
Yep, and they will just go back, reset. Want to spend up that gold before the next potential dragon fight, as they really have collected quite a lot here. A good 7,000 gold in the inventory here of CLG, which is a tremendous part of their advantage, and spending that up for that dragon fight is going to make a big, big difference.
And absolutely is. Items coming through fast and furious, more getting into the inventories. Look at that. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 control wards in inventory for CLG.
That's a lot.
That is an achievement unlocked right there. That has never happened before in any solo queue game ever. 10 control wards in inventory. CLG break a record for North American League of Legends, and they are ready to keep moving forward in this one. Control for that third ocean, and this is a good timer. It's going to be a 35 and a few seconds, minute first Elder. If they somehow can't close, they are on a very good clock.
Yeah, they certainly are. And he's the one delinquent. Still has the Dark Seal. No
it's a 10-stack Dark Seal,
it is 10
Assail.
stack, but might not be getting dessert from Zix after dinner tonight.
Okay, fair.
From no pink wards.
It's okay. He's already getting fed in this game. With the
That one's a 3.
Yeah. From downtown. Wrong. Made you laugh.
That was a 5. That was a 5.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
All right, Triple Oceans, here we go. Counter Logic Gaming ready to kind of walk this one in at this point, I feel like. Baron's going to be a while, Odo's going to be a while, and I feel like you don't wait the 6 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes, but even still, I feel like I want to see them pressure an inhibitor.
Yeah, I think you really want to continue pressuring multiple lanes. Keep moving it down, because, yes, they have a massive gold lead, but they're looking for a fight.
Okay, who would be managing to get out with the E in the Proto Belt?
And the thing you have to always remember is, despite the fact that you have this monumental advantage, if there is the ideal team fight for OpTic, it's still a level 18 Tristana, almost full build, right?
She's on 4 items.
The other people can be weak as you like, but if this guy gets the time to free fire in a team fight, he could make it happen.
And he's trying right now into Darshan. Pretty good damage. Finds a slow here as well.
He'll
Pushes
keep
them
up.
back, but look how much health he's got. It's a Lord Dominic's, not a Mortal Reminder, so Mundo is at full health anyway through 2 ultimates. Meanwhile, the base is going down. Top and inhibitor now open in the 4 versus 3. No one's here to stop him at all. The level 18 Tristana did 0 damage to Dr. Mundo, and the inhibitor's gonna go down.
Yeah, not having Executioners is pretty much a head scratcher there for me. I mean, at level 16, Mundo's ultimate heals him for 100% of his HP. If you do not have a Mortal Reminder on him, this guy has 4,000 health, right? Like, buying a Mortal Reminder essentially means you dealt 2,000 damage to him, as long as you kept that up during the ultimate. And that is so much more than the bonus damage you get from that from the Lord Dominix, rather. And that is something I feel like too many people don't really think about as far as the actual numbers, the actual advantage that you're getting from applying that healing debuff. And it is kind of disappointing to see that even against Mundo does not itemize for it.
Yep. And of course, with Visage, it's more like 5,000 health as opposed to 3,800 out of the ultimate. I mean, it's just like infinite HP coming in. Now he's got a Thorn Mail. I'm pretty sure Trostana would lose the 1v1 if he AFK'd. There's a decent chance of that one. You press R and you just receive a win at that point. But the gold, of course, is ballooned a bit more. Baron's up in 10 seconds, and CLG, you have to assume, going to go for that as their game-winning play. Power people in the mid lane looking for a play on their side.
Try to force OpTic to be the ones to start it, though. I mean, you have Mundo splitting on the bottom side. Make multiple people come down to this guy. If they don't, he can just walk up and start hitting the turret. And if OpTic is the one who has to start the Baron versus this Lissandra who can run in AoE you and all of this damage that's going to be coming in and the super minions crashing in, that's what's going to be the case. So here comes TP from Mundo. It is kind of far away. We'll see if OpTic can pull off a miracle.
This is the team fight OpTic need to win if they want to stay in this game. If it falls, they will simply lose. Minions have shoved in through the top side, by the way, so the next is going to be under fire soon enough. But CLG going to walk in to play for the fight. Couple slows coming in. Alarin stuck inside the pit, pops the ult, only hits Dr. Mundo. The damage coming in, he flashes away, and he's simply going to withstand all this damage. Huhi now in the front lines. Here comes the burst. They picked up one. They've picked up two. CLG now to whitewash this entire one. As big is gone. Another one's going to fall as Power people running for dear life, but an axe is going to be available soon. Rain over, and with the team, there's the kill picked up. A quick stopwatch for Swag, and here comes the teleports into the base. Arrow decides he's going to hit Baron to kill himself. It's the ace. It's over. Counter Logic Gaming in 33 minutes. Gonna take down OpTic and improve to 3-2.
Arrow at least got to go out on his own terms, but CLG are gonna take the win. And a nice one at that. CLG really getting out to the side lanes, finding their advantages, knocking down a lot of turrets, getting that goal lead to where it needed to be able to get that team fight win. And you can see the look on Alorum's face. They're definitely not happy with how that game went out. And that is a really tough one to deal with. You're in a bad matchup. You are a new player to the LCS. You're getting camped. And that is something that is, you know, he'll learn from and he'll improve.
Yeah, he'll do his very best too, of course. He stepped in partway through the split for Dokla, started, I believe, in week 2 and looked okay there. But CLG, for the first time in the summer split, end the day on a winning record, 3-2. Now their station should be in the top half of the standings now. Tied for, I think it's actually second, actually. It's only one team sits at 4-1, so a huge tie at 3-2. But Counter Logic Gaming is second place team currently in the North American LCS. Unfortunately for OpTic, they are down, as you mentioned, the very sort of grim look there from the top lane are definitely a rough game. They tried to funnel into Power people. He did get to some bigger items, but as a team, CLG have so much gold that they actually won the bot lane 2-on-2 heads up. They won top lane from all the pressure because they had a more standard composition. He was perfectly fine not getting funneled and still ended the game on 7 kills. Like, as a team, CLG played well start to finish.
Yeah, they really did. I think the one big blemish was that 3-man dive onto Braum with Power of Evil kind of free firing onto them, you know, able to actually, you know, take a lot of kills there, and that kind of seemed like maybe that's the CLG throw, maybe that's them losing control of this game, but they remained composed. Huhi, I think, really was a shining light for the team in this game, non-stop, getting out to the side lanes, getting Mundo ahead, putting Alorum more and more and more behind, and they made sure that when that one team fight came in mid lane that they had to win, they were about 8,000 gold up.
Yeah, maybe it could have been CLG's best game of the split. Either way, let's hear more about that win by sending it over to Ovely and CLG's Berserker in the jungle.
Thanks, guys. Rainover, big win for CLG. Early on in the game, we saw you super proactive in the jungle. How do you deal with going against these funnel comps as a jungler?
Yeah, but so basically going on into funnel comps, I mean, they have no jungle, basically. So, like on the map, there's like a lot of play that I can make, right, as a jungle. But usually, like 90% of it, I just don't do it because I assume that, oh, there's a risk, right? So I usually like don't go for like that much of risky play. But against funnel comp, like I actually can just do like whatever I want, and they have no jungle, so there's no counterplay. So it feels like pretty good as a jungle to face funnel comps. And yeah, so I just had a lot of option.
Now, as of right now, not too many people are viewing CLG as a big contender in the NA/LCS. What are you guys going to do to prove that you are?
Well, we played pretty poor last split, and so I think it is like just like naturally it's gonna happen, but happen to be like people think like that. But I think this split, we feel like really good and really prepared, and like the meta is like pretty crazy, but I think our team is like pretty being on like top of each other and then like making sure that we're on like right spot. So yeah, I think we're gonna be good this split. Yeah.
Well, congratulations again on your win. And to wrap up the day, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avali. Nice to hear directly from a jungler who has to face that funnel composition, what it is like and what it maybe gives him the opportunity to do in the early game, and that is to make plays. Exactly what Rainover did in this game.
Yeah, and Rainover's always been one of the best early game junglers in the league. Where his lacking has come in is later in the game and in skirmishes. But as you mentioned, if he's just always 2v1, he's going to be exceptionally good at it. Knows alarms pushed up, gets the first kill. It was pretty easy for Rainover there.
And there you can see they can commit their flashes with no regard because there's no other counter gank coming in, like he was saying. There's nothing extra you need to worry about. And they kept picking on Alorum, just constantly ganking him over and over. At one point he was 0 and 4, and they were having a tough time.
Yeah, this play right here, though, is where you think maybe CLG is tunneling a little bit too hard. This is a situation where they probably don't even really recognize that Power of Evil is going to kill them.
CLG's vision right here.
Yeah, what they see Gate, they can kill him. But Power of Evil gets to free hit for actually quite a long time. It starts to go bad. Those are the types of plays where CLG has had it go wrong, more so in the spring split than in this split. But you thought, hey, maybe it would happen here with Power of Evil getting all those early kills.
Yeah, it was definitely a moment where Jet and I looked at each other and was like, this starts to look like one of those games where like Power of Evil gets a couple kills, this hyper scaling, funnel Tristana, maybe gonna work out. Right. But CLG was actually able to close this one up pretty well.
Just to show that CLG is not without mistakes in this win, but ultimately did pick up the victory. We're gonna jump ahead to a mid lane replay. CLG a 4-for-0 here. Huhi coming up big with the engage from the side.
And Huhi's been a Lissandra player for a long time. She hasn't been meta for a while, so it's been a while since you've seen these, but he likes to hug the walls and throw his E's over the wall so that you can't see them as easily. And then he's able to go in on top of Power of Evil, who was trying to finish that turret off. It was probably a little bit of greedy play by Power of Evil there, but once they find that engage, it's just too easy for them to run down. This Mundo that has been snowballed can continue charging ahead. Rainover was doing a good job frontlining and allowing his shorter range marksman and Lucian to continue to kite forward.
Yeah, and when you have that huge bag of gold on the mid laner who is getting killed or pushed out of the fight by the dive of CLG every single time, it becomes easier for CLG to execute that victory. And you can see that by the gold graph. They never really relented their lead.
A very pretty gold graph for CLG this time around. On the day, we've seen now many examples of funnel compositions run into standard compositions, and we did have some questions around, how adventurous would our teams be here in North American LCS moving into week 3, because so many other regions had already moved to these unique and new strategies earlier on in the split. All right, we're finally now approaching these strategies, or at least some of our squads are, but they're still not finding the same success maybe that others are.
Well, to be fair, when Funnel initially started in other regions as well, they actually lost a fair amount to the point where Jat and I, when we first started seeing them, were like, oh, these are cool. And they were a lot more gimmicky then, where it's like Nunu Karthus,
right,
Shyvana Mordekaiser, and they've kind of stabilized into more just marksman Funnel. But there was a period of time where a lot of the other regions in the world were struggling and they had a pretty poor win rate before they started to really understand how to close games out on stage.
Yeah, so today we saw 4 funnels with one of them winning.
Correct.
And they were always funneling a marksman. I think that's an important distinction. Yes, it is a different position for the marksman, but it's actually more like they're just wanting to play 80 carries in mid lane where it's easier to hit a 3-item spike.
Right.
Is a lot of what it feels like. And we saw one mage bot from C9.
Yes.
So about actually half the teams were playing non-standard. And I think we're going to continue to see that unless there are larger systemic changes to the game. And even though it didn't win today, these teams don't bring this out on stage unless it's working somewhere.
Right.
None of these teams actually want to change. We've known this from like years and years of pro players. They're almost forced into it, is what they're thinking. It's just not necessarily as polished on stage as they want it yet.
All right, well, with our 5 games today, let's take a look at the standings before we call it a day. Team Liquid grabbed hold of first with their win, leaving Echo Fox to share second place with TSM, 100 Thieves, and Counter Logic Gaming. While FlyQuest joins Clutch, Golden Guardians, and Counter OpTic, not quite, OpTic Gaming in 6th. If we turn our attention, though, to your predictions for the day, it was a tough one, as we mentioned at the top of the day, to call. Mark getting one of them right, Jack getting the other right, that you guys disagreed on in games 1 and 3, and then, of course, the FlyQuest victory over Golden Guardians. moves you guys to a solid 3 out of 5 for the day.
Yeah, I mean, the two games that we differed on were both 40-plus minute back and forth ones. The big miss of the day was the FlyQuest game.
Yeah.
Where Golden Guardians got absolutely obliterated by a team that hadn't looked like they could win.
Yeah, and it's starting to make you second guess some of that Golden Guardian success that we were hyping up after week 1, partially through week 2. That loss that they had versus Echo Fox, where they were monstrously far ahead on Lorlo, that they couldn't convert. This game where it was just a series of mistakes, not like a one mistake followed by 5 more. There were gaps where their decision making was clearly just not on the same page.
By a similar token, some questions will be raised for Echo Fox, recognizing they lost to the #1 team in the league, but they lost in such drastic fashion that to some degree you have to be wondering what happened there.
For me, I didn't hate it too much. It's like, all right, level 1 First Blood Phoenix, like what's going on? I didn't really like
that. Was pretty derpy.
Yeah, that was rough to watch. And then they still found some kills and fights where it's like, well, if they weren't down 10K gold, that's a fantastic engage. But you are down 10K gold, so it's not working.
It's actually interesting because I think back in the spring when we saw the roster and we thought they were just a bunch of toxic players, and one loss would throw the team into disarray. I've switched my mentality on this team where they are so willing to go all out that I am actually less concerned of the 28 kill to 4 loss for Echo Fox.
Because nothing can bring
them down. Then I would be with another team. Well, just because that's the way they play, and that is just what happens sometimes when you throw yourself with the opponent regardless of the circumstances. They've opted into potential results like that, and I think they're going to continue to swap out players as they had even after they've won. Technically, DeMonte's 5-game suspension is now over, so he will be eligible to play tomorrow. They're going to keep trying this stuff. I have no doubts.
All right, without a doubt, let's take a look at what games we have in store tomorrow with our schedule presented by Jersey Mike's. The day begins with Golden Guardians versus TSM, with Clutch Gaming taking on Team Liquid in Game 3, followed by Echo Fox versus Cloud9, where Azael, Stixay, and Frost will be bringing you the game on Riot Games 2 from the NALCS Lounge. With that, as we call it a day, stay tuned after our goodbyes for a rebroadcast of the EU LCS, affectionately known as the lesser LCS games from today. Now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for more of the NALCS. Good night.